All right, welcome in, boys. We are live. Take it to the bank, Loudon. I'm your host, Keg. With me, as always, my NASCAR partner in crime, Coop. My guy banged another 200 to 1 parlay last week. What's going on, Cooper?
Not much, man. Sorry we're late, but like we always have to talk about our lives.
Yeah. A lot going on. Right? We got to get up to date every week,
Right. And the parents aren't doing well, so
yeah.
Amongst other things for Jay and so on and so forth. But yeah, but my parents are like kids,
That's what happens. That's what happens. When they get older, you start taking care of them. That's what happens.
Yep.
Well, the good news is Coop hit a 200 to 1 parlay last week at Iowa. He hit like a 23 to 1 parlay with Ford and Penske to win the race. I had Blaney at 16 to 1 and 5.5 to 1. It was a good week. Could have been better. Saturday was really good with MMA.
Yep.
But we can't complain. You're up 60 something units in June. I'm up about 35 now because I've given back a few this week already. But we continue to plug along. What were your thoughts about Iowa? I thought it was probably the best short track race of the year, right? Because they've all been fucking terrible. But it was pretty exciting.
A little skeptical about it. I think a lot of people came away happy and surprised because the expectations for the race were set so low.
Yeah.
So low.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like a phenomenal race by any means. But yeah, it was better than what we expected. So everybody's like, yeah, good race, solid race, it's all about this and that. It was better than most of the other short track packages. But still not like where it needs to be.
So it was basically the first week where we saw a car be able to drive from the rear to the front on a short track. Like if Kyle Larson doesn't get taken out of that race, does he win that race? I don't know for sure, but he looked very good. I mean, does it look like right now, like Chris Bell, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson on these short flat tracks right now? They've been very, very good, all three.
Yeah. I think another thing is like this didn't race like a short track. It raced more like an intermediate track. I mean, guys are going 170 miles an hour around that thing, not the average speed, but top speed, which you don't see on the other short tracks.
Right.
So I think that helped also. But yeah, those three guys seem to be, chugging on along, doing really well. We'll have to see how it plays out. So
yeah. And under the radar, Chase Elliott just continues to be very solid. Is he the best? No, but very, very solid on these short tracks so far this year. All right, so now we turn our attention to Loudon. We're at New Hampshire, basically just over a mile track, another short flat track. They're using the tire that they used last week at Iowa. What do you use as a comp here? Like Richmond, Gateway, Iowa? Like what's the comp here?
I think Phoenix is number one.
Phoenix is number one, even though they don't use the same tire?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of tire wear on Richmond. It's a shorter track. I don't think, it races anything like Iowa because of that having that intermediate, type of fill last week. So to me, it's really Phoenix.
Will the tires wear?
They'll wear, but they won't wear.
They won't. You don't think that they're because, like, obviously Marty has owned this track, right?
They always say they're going to wear. They say they're using this left side from these races, this right side from this races. This combination's never been used before. blah 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 blah. We're going to create, wear because of it holds heat, yada yada yada. I mean, whatever.
Do you
I'll
do
believe
you
it when I see it.
do you think that long run speed normally wins out at Richmond, or like a combination of short run and long run speed, like normally? Because like Kez is normally very good here, Marty normally very good here. Denny hasn't been elite, but he's been solid. Bell's been solid. Guys that know how to manage tires seem to do very well here.
Yeah, I mean, Harvick was good here. Amarola was really good here. You know, yeah, I mean, you could talk about managing tires, but I think there's certain drivers, and there's two in particular, and one that's not far behind, that really understand how to manage and run and do whatever it needs to be done to win at this track. And I think,
Marty and Bell.
yeah, they're the two that are, I think, way above everybody.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Like Marty hasn't really shown like top five speed on a short track, but I don't know, man. It's just different at Loudon. Whatever happens at Loudon, he's the
Yeah,
guy. He just
yeah. I
knows.
mean, he was solid at Phoenix this year.
Yeah,
But I know I talk a lot about recent form, which hasn't been good for Marty. But I think this is kind of a week you got to kind of throw that out the window for him, because he is so good here.
you always talk about that. This is the time of year where HMS usually starts to take off, but doesn't it feel this year in particular that they have been stronger on these short tracks than I remember?
I
Like,
think it's very misleading.
why?
So usually they take off after Coca-Cola 600. So the first race after that was Gateway. Kyle Larson had the best finish at 10th. All right. So they, fell right into their vacation. I think the NASCAR schedulers / track people kind of helped them out. You go to Sonoma, it's brand spanking new. Nobody has any data off of it, so on and so forth, because of the repave.
Right.
So I think they caught a break there. Then you go to Iowa, same situation. Caught a break there because, it's all new to everybody. And I think they just happened to be, the best off the trucks those 2 weeks.
Well, they were able to work on their cars after qualifying last week,
Yeah.
right? Which
Yeah.
is big.
So I'm still not sold that the vacation is
hasn't yet started.
Yeah, because I think those two things help them out tremendously, in my opinion.
I guess that's fair.
We'll know come Sunday.
So from a manufacturer perspective, obviously we put Toyota number one at this track, right? Where you at with like Ford and Chevy?
Ford.
You pick Ford over Chevy?
Yes.
So you'd rather
Chevy hasn't won here since 2016.
So you'd rather back guys like Blaney, Logano, and Keselowski before you would back Elliott, Byron, and Larson.
Correct.
Okay. Do you think now? Obviously, like Keselowski, when he was in the two, he was a beast here, right? But he hasn't really shown that in this format.
He's finished top 10 both years, hasn't he?
Yeah, but like he hasn't had the nuts. He hasn't had a car that can compete with Toyota, right? Where he used to have a car that could compete with Toyota.
He hasn't. But let me ask you this. Has he been better this year than last year at this point of the year?
100%. Yeah.
Right.
Because Roush didn't even turn on to the second half of the year last year.
Right. Exactly. So pretty high on Kez this week.
Yeah, I think I am too.
I think he's the one driver that could spoil the Bell Truex party.
Wow, man, you really don't like HMS, huh? Because
Give me one reason to like him.
I'm with you on Keselowski. I'm with you. I agree. I agree totally. I just like Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott scare the shit out of me, man.
Not one worry about either one of them.
Okay.
They haven't won here. And you go back and you look, they've hardly led any laps. They have not figured out this track whatsoever.
What do you think?
What other track do you think HMS doesn't have a win on that's been around for a while? I don't know.
I would have to think about that. I don't know.
You know how many top tens Bowman, Elliott, and Byron have at this track combined?
0?
4.
Oh, I thought it was a trick question.
Between the three of them, they have 4 top tens. And to be honest with you, the best finish for Chase Elliott and the best finish for William Byron both came, we can go back to the newness, all right? The first year of this new car, when it was new to everybody, you know?
Right.
So you could look at that. If you go back and you look at their results last year, back to the same old HMS at this track. Not very good at all.
What do you think about Denny?
I have Denny right behind Kez. Denny's been solid here. Solid. Wouldn't be surprised, you know, if he's contending at the end. He's my number 4 driver this week.
Anybody? Do you think any legitimate Stewart Haas car? Like, do you think Briscoe or Berry can make noise?
I think Berry possibly.
He looked pretty good last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's looked good. I think Berry more than Briscoe. Gregson, definitely Priest.
So looking at the outright market, right? I can't even argue. I can't even argue with the price on Chris Bell. Like Ford 450, that's probably fair based on what we have seen him do on these short tracks this year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Marty's priced basically slightly worse at plus 450. I mean, like you said last Sunday, he's won every stage. He's absolutely dominated. So like you can't argue with that. I think that Denny Hamlin shouldn't be 5-1 though, Coop.
I agree. I think he should be 7.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's you're paying a tax at 5-1.
I agree.
What do you think about Blaney? Do you think he's 6.5-1? Do you think he could look as good as he's looked these last couple weeks?
He could, but I think he's going to need some help. This isn't a great track for Ryan Blaney. He's had some solid finishes here, but he's like HMS. Hasn't come close to winning here at all. I like Joey Logano more than Ryan Blaney. I know Logano is really good here. He's been his best this year in this package on the short tracks. My concern, though, with Logano is he gets up to 2nd or 3rd and falls back to 5th or 6th.
I don't
in that ballpark.
I don't disagree with anything you just said. My issue with him this week is he should not be 8-1. That is a fucking joke.
Yeah,
that price.
I would agree with you. I think maybe 11, 12.
Yeah, 12. Like what Keselowski is, right? Like he should probably be what Keselowski is, around 12.
But yeah, I do like him though more than Blaney, just because. Again, I think this track, man. Like you learn it, you know it, you're good, and I think Joey's done that more than Ryan Blaney. And I think he might be able to take that car that has just been on the edge of being really, really good and might be able to get it over the hump because of where we're at.
Could Penske win 3 in a row? Could they really do that, you think? All 3 guys?
I think it's going to be a tough task, just because of, I think for anybody to beat Marty or Bell,
something has to happen to them.
You're going to have to kind of see a gateway type of scenario where when one blows the engine, the other runs out of the gas.
Yeah.
Might not be that extreme. It could just be a bad pit stop at the end, that type of deal or something. Or, they blow a tire, at the end. But the two of them are they're so much better than everybody else here.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Bell's raced the Xfinity race 3 times, won it all 3 times.
Yeah, he's a beast on short flats.
Yeah. They're just very good here. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. They should be your clear 2 favorites. After Logano Keselowski at 12-1, we talked about him. I like him. I don't like Chris Buescher though this week, Coop. Like I don't see him really making any noise.
I agree.
Yeah. After Kez, Elliott and Byron are 14-1. We know how you feel about them. They scare me still.
Why do they scare you?
Because like they're fucking fast. All like Kyle Larson either wrecks or wins the race. Like a lot of the time.
Wasn't Kyle Larson really fast last year? All the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like Will Byron ran around in second all night last week, right? And like if something would have happened to Ryan Blaney, he would have picked up the pieces and won like he always does. Like that can't happen again. Like you like if Marty and Bell, let's say Marty and Bell are running 1-2. Okay, let's say Hamlin's running 6th. Like there's only so many guys that are going to fill those spots in the top 10 because there's only so many guys that are fast enough to do that. Now you can count guys like Berry who are good on short flats. If Briscoe comes with a whip, he's good on a short flat. Keselowski, Logano, Blaney, obviously, right? But like to say that
there's more.
To say that a Larson can't be in the mix is just crazy to me.
Oh no! Like we're talking winners.
Yeah.
Would I be surprised if a HMS car finishes in the top 5? No. Would I be surprised if 1 or 2 of them finishes in the top 10? No. Would I be surprised if all 4 of them finish outside the top 10? No, not one bit.
Yeah.
They just haven't been good here. They have not brought a race-winning car to this track since Jimmy Johnson retired.
That's a while. After Byron, 2 Toyotas that we haven't spoke about, Ty Gibbs and Tyler Reddick at 18-1. Gibbs is pretty much like early in the year, he was flashing a lot of speed. Now he is consistently the slowest Gibbs car on the track. Mm-hmm. Right, at least the last month. Marty's better. I mean, maybe I don't know where Gibbs finished last week because Denny was not himself last week. But like outside of that, like Gibbs
finished worse than Denny, by the way.
Did he end up doing that?
He was the worst of the 4.
Yeah. What do you think about Gibbs and Reddick this week?
I think as far as Reddick goes, he just hasn't been able to do well on these short flat tracks. He practices well and he qualifies well. But when the green flag drops, just something happens. He doesn't do great. I could see him finishing 4th or 5th. I could see him finishing 15th. He was good at Phoenix earlier this year. So,
let me ask you this: of Gibbs, Reddick, and Bubba, right? Who do you think finishes best out of those 3? Reddick?
That's a tough question.
That's a tough
because
one.
they're all so inconsistent.
Right.
Bubba's had the worst year of the three.
Yeah.
He's fallen off. He's kind of like replaced. Gibbs is doing what Bubba did last year.
Yes.
You know? All right. Bubba's doing what Gibbs did last year. And Reddick, you know, who knows? I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I think it's Gibbs or Reddick.
Yeah, that's fair.
Bubba's just been so good for whatever reason.
Compared to last year, it's like night and day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The year is 2024, and Josh Berry is 22-1 to win a cup race.
Yeah, crazy.
Woo!
Pretty crazy.
It's a whole new world out there, Coop. 22-1. But you know what? I can't argue. The guy has been solid. I can't argue.
Yeah, been solid. You know, been solid. And I still think for him to win, it's going to take an Austin Cindric type of race.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he spent a lot of time in the top 10 here recently. So definitely somebody I'll keep my eye on.
It could be one of those where he just drives around in third or fourth all day long and just doesn't have the best car.
The only problem, though, with Josh Berry is the last couple of weeks or times that we bet him, it's been 40, 60, 80, 100, or something like that to one.
Right.
Now the books, you know, are catching on and seeing that, and those numbers aren't going to be anywhere close to those. So it's going to be harder for me to want to take a nibble at him.
I'm with you. We bet him at 45 last week, I think. I mean, they cut that price in half.
Yeah. You bet him at 100 or something like a couple weeks ago, didn't you, or something?
Yeah. After him, Chastain 28-1. What do you think about Trackhouse? Has Trackhouse been better to you on these short tracks than you would have thought? Like, or at least Suarez?
Chevy in general hasn't been good on these short tracks. I like Ross this week because I think he has an opportunity to capitalize on HMS's shortcomings at this track.
So like a top Chevy kind of market?
Do I think – we'll talk about Ross later. Do I think Ross is a race-winning car? No.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think he could win. Buescher 33-1. I don't think he could win either.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Busch at 35-1. Honestly, they should start booking like, will Kyle Busch finish the race odds? That's where we're at. With
You know, he hasn't finished the race. He's finished dead last 3 to 4 races here. Last 4 races.
Yeah, I mean,
not of his doing. One of them was the rain at the beginning of the race. You know, when like 4 or 5 cars had issues. I think Truex and Hamlin were in that too. You know, another one was a flat tire or something, and he hit a wall. But tough times for KB right now.
It is
tough times.
And it didn't sound like he was in love with staying with Childress either.
No, I mean, he's guaranteed another year with him. So, I don't know.
Yeah, he's in a bad place, man. You could just tell that he's not having any fun out there at all.
No. He's even more miserable, I think, than when he was with his final year of Joe Gibbs Racing.
I agree.
He's just not showing it because he has to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be maybe he did mature a little bit. Who knows?
No.
He's 39 years old now.
Don't hold your breath. After him, Bubba 40-1. We talked about him. Chase Briscoe 50-1. The problem is that I like that's a fair number for him on a short flat track. I just don't see how he competes with Bell or Marty. Like if you're betting Chase Briscoe this week, you're banking on the fact that something's going to happen to Marty and Bell, because I think other than that you're drawing dead. But if they're not, if something happens to them, that you would agree 50-1 probably a fair price on him.
Fair, but I mean, I think there's a lot of other drivers I would, try to jump on before Chase Briscoe.
Yeah. Bowman 60-1. Bowman's been he's been a pretty consistent top 10 guy lately.
Been a head case here. He has one top 10 and it's a 9th.
After that, Gregson, Haley, it's just bombs away. 100-1, 400-1.
Yep.
Yeah. So
not gonna win that.
Moral of the story here, kids: get on Chris Bell and Marty this week. That's the moral of the story. I mean, you could technically bet them both and just try to pick up 3 units if you wanted to bet it straight, or you could try to get that number up with a leg to like 8 or 9-1. And I think you're in good shape if you bet those 2 guys. I don't know, Coop. Like I just don't think Denny's going to be better than them. Like if I'm betting this race straight, I'm not betting
Bell and Truex.
Yeah, I'm not betting Denny. Yeah, exactly. I kind of think like you can make an argument that there might be like Ryan Blaney at 7 is probably a better number than Denny at 5, based on the last couple weeks at least.
I think Keselowski at 16 is a better number than all of them.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Like, what's his top 4 number?
We'll talk about it later.
All right, boys, we're out of here. Tomorrow we will be live on Patreon at noon for subs. Sunday we'll be on the YouTube channel free for the race. Hopefully we get these races in. There is some kind of weather concern, so we might be in a rain delay at some point this weekend. But we got 2 MMA cards tomorrow that we'll be live for, and both races, obviously. So
real quick, Astrodamus, I don't think it's that we don't like Denny. I think Keg was referencing if he had to bet 2 drivers, he wouldn't be, touching Denny.
Right.
He would be over Bell and Truex.
Right.
So Denny's my number 4 driver this week.
Yeah, exactly, Coop. Real quick, before we go, Xfinity. It's probably just Bell, right? I mean, I know Chandler Smith. I don't know. I don't think he's going to beat Bell.
I think he possibly could. Chandler Smith is extremely good at Phoenix. Like, really good. He's really good at Richmond too.
But like, what happened?
He raced
last week?
He raced last year in a college car, and first time here, finished second. So I would not be shocked if Chandler Smith won.
I think if you're gonna bet the race, I guess you have to bet him with Bell. But like watching him crush the field by 4 seconds for half the race and then just completely disappear. Like I don't even know what the fuck happened to him last week.
I think it's, first time at that racetrack, things happen. It didn't race like a short track. It raced more like an intermediate. I think if you asked him, I don't think he would have been surprised because he said he was bad on restarts all day, and it finally caught up to him.
Who would you put third in that race?
Allgaier. I'd be shocked if Chris Bell, Allgaier, or Chandler Smith did not win this race.
He's another guy that always finds a way to disappoint you. when he's got a great car.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of here. We're going to go over to Patreon right now to break down all the betting markets for the race boys. Good luck this weekend. If we don't see you tomorrow, we will see you Sunday on NUKE YouTube. For Coop, I'm Keg. We're out. See you later.